Joining me today is New Hampshire State Senator Dan Feltes. So Dan, we were talking about sort of investment priorities and sort of that economic component, which I know is something that, from looking at your literature and talking to you, that's a really important component.
Right.
And we started with education, or you mentioned that. So let's pick up there. What are the opportunities that the state, you believe, really needs to focus on in this next biennium? And really, this next biennium, the first year is going to be in setting the budget that would deal with education.
Well, in terms of education, we ought to support public education from kindergarten to college. One thing that will come up is whether or not the state kicks in full adequacy, full support for full-day kindergarten. 70% of the school districts in the state provide full-day kindergarten, but their per pupil support by the state is half any other grade. That's just not fair. Kindergartners are not half as important as a 5th grader or a 10th grader. In fact, all the research shows that.
I was going to say, I've talked to people that have done the research on that, and it's early intervention, early access to education pays dividends downstream in the higher grades. So.
That's true. And certainly in terms of the research going from half to full-day kindergarten, it pays dividends going into 3rd, 4th, in some cases, and longitudinal studies into 5th grade, social, academic value. And it's an economic issue in terms of families. I mean, if you're a kid growing up in a low to middle income family, your folks may not be able to afford to send you to private full-day kindergarten. Having access to public full-day kindergarten makes sure that every child has an opportunity to get off into a good start going into 1st grade. And that's something that we ought to get done. I know Governor Chris Sununu mentioned it in the campaign that he thought it was fair to provide full support for full-day kindergarten, finally doing that. I think there may be an opportunity for bipartisan work on that. In terms of education, we got to do more to support, I think, our students graduating high school and make sure that we attract and retain young people in this state. And we can do more in terms of job training and workforce development. That's a major issue that will come up in this session.
And so how is it best, what's the policy dynamic around workforce development?
Well, look, most of our job training programs right now are geared towards people who are in current employment, but their employer is either expanding an operation or wants to hire up. We don't have training programs specifically geared and customized to those current in-demand employment. In other words, let's say you're unemployed, John, and you come to me and we do an interview and I say, well, really like John, what John needs is a certificate or some specific occupational skills. There's nothing there specifically customized that says, all right, John, we can get you into that training right now so I can fill those positions. I just heard from the Commissioner of Employment Security looking at the job openings, 20,000 job openings in New Hampshire, 20,000. And we need to fill those jobs. And we can right now if we get people who don't have the skills, training, get them skill them up to those jobs, fill those jobs. That's good for business, that's good for workers, that's good for our economy. We're functionally at full employment right now.
Yeah, 2.5 unemployment. Pretty much everybody wants a job, has it, but what you're saying is those people who want that next job don't have the skills to get it.
Well, it's that, and there are folks that have disengaged from the labor market in part because they don't have the skills to fill those fill those jobs. So we need to bolster those job training and workforce development programs. In terms of expanding opportunity for everyone, not just those at the top, we gotta look at really continuing our effort to combat the heroin and opioid public health crisis. That's an economic issue for the state too.
Right, so we were like 5 seconds away from being out of time.
Sure.
On that, and I want to spend a whole segment on the opioid crisis.
Okay.
But with the jobs, is that our community colleges? What would we fund in the budget to get that job training?
Well,
is it public-private partnerships? What is it?
It's public-private partnerships. You don't have to necessarily fund it in the budget. You can do it through the unemployment insurance system, the way it's set up right now. Our existing job training program has part of what goes to the unemployment insurance fund. Part of that goes to job training. You can bolster that up in a way that that makes sense and is reasonable and meets that demand right now.
And right now, I've got to go to commercial break.
Okay.
But when we return, we're going to talk about the opioid crisis. So please stay with us.